Luke Getsy, offensive coordinator. So of all the moves the Raiders have made this offseason, this is the one I disliked the most, was the hiring of Luke Getsy. Now, there's been we've picked up random low-level players, but the risk was super low. You know what I mean? It's all right, I don't think this guy's going to make the team, but we signed him to $800,000, so whatever, right? And there's other moves that are higher risk, higher reward, right? Like Antonio Pierce. The history says interim coaches that get the full-time job, it doesn't pan out very often. History is going against AP, right? So, and it's high risk, high reward. If it doesn't pan out, it's going to be we should have known. The history said so, you idiots. Of course, we're hoping he does pan out. There's a lot of reason to be optimistic, right? Mm-hmm. Luke Getsy was the one that I was I don't get it. I don't get it. The Bears offense wasn't anything to write home about. Was it Justin Fields' fault? Was it Luke Getsy's fault? It just didn't seem like it was going to work. But it's his job to change my mind and change all of Raider Nation's mind that he's the right guy. The observation that Deshaun Reed of The Athletic made was that offensive coordinator Luke Getsy plans to be more flexible. But that's not what he's known for. You reminded me this whole conversation that we had all season and a half ago that I completely forgot, how Josh McDaniels was the same thing. Here's my system. You do it. It's perfect. My system is immaculate. It's God. And if you can't make it work, that's on you. That was Josh McDaniels' mindset. Mm-hmm. And the big litmus test, we were oh, can you make Hunter Renfrow work? Because he's obviously got the skills to be 100 receiver, 100 reception, Pro Bowl player, but you got to make it work for him. You can't just say, you have to be this archetype that I've decided. Obviously, that didn't work out. Luke Getsy is, I think, kind of in a similar position where it's good that he's noticing that that's something he wants to improve on, but that's not his MO, Soto. His MO is not that he's Mr. Malleable in changing things.
I wouldn't go as far as say it's not his MO. I will say that I don't think he's had to as much. Mm-hmm. Because all his years with Green Bay, they ran the same system and everything was kind of humming along. He did change a little bit towards the end of the season after Justin Fields got back from being hurt. And he did change to a little bit more of a wide open type of offense. Unfortunately, for Justin Fields, he didn't have the weapons. He had one weapon, and a good one in DJ Moore, but he didn't have the other weapons on the outsides to play that way. He had to play a more controlled offense to use Cole Kmet, use some of the running backs out of the backfield and stuff like that. So I'm not going to go as far as to say that he can't do it. It is going to be interesting to see how he chooses to attempt to do it. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm focusing on. I'm not going to say he can't do it because, what was that game? What was it against the Commanders when they put up 35 points in the first half? It was a Monday night, Thursday night game or something like that. Yeah, they were winging the ball, around the field, but he didn't have the weapons to do that every single week, and it just seemed like Justin Fields wasn't capable of having those grinded out drives and doing it with his arm. He did good things with Tyson Bagent when Bagent was in there, and Bagent is, he is extremely limited physically.
Yeah.
Okay. He's smart. He's tough, but physically his tools are just undrafted free agent for a reason. Okay. And he won some games, with Tyson Bagent. He beat us with Tyson Bagent. Right. So Getsy can do things and kind of adjust to his personnel. It's just, I think that we're looking at, or people look at him because of the failure of Justin Fields. And I think that it's not fair for him to take the brunt of that.
Well, he's yet to be able to prove his mettle, right? Because it's he had Aaron Rodgers, where it's we could be offensive coordinator for Aaron Rodgers and do okay. And then he had Chicago and didn't succeed, but that seems like an impossible place to get an offense going, is Chicago. And then now he's in Las Vegas. And he has his hands full here, right? Let's call a spade, right? Let's not blow smoke. Let's not blow rainbows up everyone's asses. Our quarterback situation is not optimal. Gardner Minshew or Farva. We're hoping for the best. I think it's very fair to be very optimistic about Aidan O'Connell, considering how, he played pretty well to close out last season after Josh McDaniels fiasco, not truly being QB1 until later in the season, and, fourth round pick, like blah, 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 blah. And still, like, towards the end of the season, he started playing pretty well. There's reasons for optimism, but that's all it is right now is optimism. It's not, he's proven to be something. He's got that to worry about. He has an O-line that, again, on paper, just pure personnel-wise, probably below average. A unit that's been playing better than itself, which we're hoping is going to continue. And the other part is you have a first-round tight end, I'm using quotation marks, that you have to be flexible for. Everything I read about Brock Bowers from the analysts was, what a great player. Oh, my God. What a steal for the Raiders. If, capital I, capital F,
Luke Getsy
can make him work, because he's not a tight end, like a true tight end. You're like, all right, line up next to the tackle. Half the plays you block, half the plays you run routes. Like, that's not him. Not him at all. Like, sometimes he's a slot receiver. Sometimes he's on the line. Sometimes he's out wide. Sometimes he's a halfback. He was in the Wildcat a couple times in Georgia, right? Like, you have to scheme for Brock Bowers to get the most out of him. And if you're going to spend that kind of, and again, I'm not a guy where it's like the whole team has to change for a player, but if you're going to use that type of draft capital, you got to make it work. Like, you got to maximize the things you've invested heavily in. And that includes Davante Adams, who's getting so much money. You got to make him work. You got to make Brock Bowers work, and you have to make it work with Favre or Minshew. So in fairness to Getsy, if he doesn't succeed, he does have his hands full. Like, it is a Rubik's Cube, the Raiders offense this upcoming season. Not bad, because there's obviously tons of talent there. It's not certainly not impossible, but it is a calculation. It's not arithmetic. It's calculus to make this offense work next season.
I don't see it being as difficult as that. I think that they did a lot with Cole Kmet in Chicago, because, like I said, they didn't have another guy out wide that can win consistently. So a lot of times, even against us, they motion Kmet to be an outside receiver. So he's used to finding a matchup, and with the matchup, having a call to adjust a specific player within a scheme, within a game plan. Mm-hmm. So he's shown that he can do that. We don't know that Brock Bowers is quite as accomplished in all the areas that Cole Kmet has shown that he is, which is his inline blocking and stuff. He's a bigger guy. He's a better inline blocker. We think, because we haven't seen, Bowers play against pros. So that's kind of where the little illusion comes from, because he can be inline and block or go out on a pattern and be, like an equal threat. Cole Kmet could. So we don't know that with Bowers yet, but I see once you find a formula, it's just about plugging in the different numbers, which are the different plays, and finding different areas for him to attack. Mm-hmm. I think for him, it's going to be attacking areas of the field, not so much matchups, because he has a matchup advantage versus he's bigger and stronger than safeties and DBs, and he's faster and quicker than linebackers. So it's more so for him attacking areas of the field than the player. He's got a good problem to have. He's got a lot of good, versatile players. I think Davante Adams is still our best slot receiver, even though he's also our best outside receiver. And you have, Jacoby Myers, probably 2-2. You have two very good tight ends, one who's excellent. You have, a running back that is shown, if, he makes the team and everything goes the way we think it's going to go, who you drafted late in the draft, who is probably the best route running back in the draft.
Is it Dylan Laube or Laube?
I thought it was Lobby.
Lobby?
I thought it was Lobby.
I like Lobby better. Laube.
I don't
Basinger?
know. I
Basinger?
need to ask
Basinger?
him. I cannot pronounce.
Basinger? Kim Basinger? Bagasinger?
But so he has a lot of versatile weapons, and I don't see that being an issue. I just see it being more of like.
Well, that goes more to my point. Is no one is plug and play. It's this guy is not your typical tight end. This guy is not your typical running back. This guy is not your typical whatever. You need to make those formulas, which is again, it could be a good or bad problem to have. If you're a system for Josh McDaniels, it'd be a nightmare because I need you to be this.
I think. Wait. If I'm hearing you correctly, I think if you line up Brock Bowers as a typical tight end, play in and play out, I think he would be above average to good. You wouldn't get the most out of him, but he's that good of a player where he would still be a pretty good tight end. Just like if you,
I think blocking, he would get beat up his rookie year for sure.
Yeah, I mean he'll get better, but over time,
yeah.
I think just the extras he can do, the little extra sprinkle on top on the side, is what's going to separate him from others. Where he can do extra things, but he can also do what a normal tight end does. And I think that's the same with Davante Adams. It's the same with Jacoby Myers. It's the same with Dylan Laube if he gets, if he becomes what I think he can be, pass catching wise. So I don't see it being a problem as far as like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? It's more so of let me get the formula down, and then I can plug in different numbers, and the formula will